What's up, guys? I hope this video finds you guys all healthy and safe today. This is going to be video number 3 of our current time series, where we are talking about what you can be doing within the current circumstances of the COVID-19 situation to make the most out of it. You know, whether you guys are in the United States, whether you guys are one of the followers from around the world, I want to be giving you situational environments, things to really consider, pick up on, that's going to lend way to you guys making the most of this time. And again, guys, I can't really say this enough. The basis of you guys making the most of this time is going to be around reprioritizing, thinking your goals, thinking about things that can be accomplished during this time. And that's why I keep continuing to like basically point out that point, because it's crucial. So can we be really gaining tons of size and lean body mass right now? Most likely no. Can we be gaining, tons of strength right now? Probably not, but what can we do? The first thing, as far as this training series that I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about training series in terms of what we have the most control over to what we have the least control over. And this first video about what we have the most control over is going to be our cardio, because I think that every single person that's watching this video during this time where we have regulations, restrictions, suggestions of things that we should be doing in terms of social distancing, maybe your gym's closed, maybe you're not allowed to leave your house, all of us have means to do cardio. If you have a healthy body, if you're able to wake up in the morning, in some way, shape, or form, you're able to do cardio. All right. So, and I don't want to let you guys think that you cannot also be acquiring any lean body mass during this time. Throughout your upper body, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge just because we can't provide the stimulus that we can with our lower body. But if you guys really take to heart what I'm about to talk about in terms of anaerobic exercise activity, which is anaerobic types of cardio, and then aerobic types of cardio, which is commonly known as our steady state cardio, we can make changes to our lower half, to our physique. It's that simple comparison of a cyclist compared to a marathon runner. Look at their legs, look at how they're training, look what they're doing, and then emulate that. All right. So first thing I want to talk about is anaerobic cardio or anaerobic conditioning. And basically, in simple terms, that is a mode of cardio that's going to deplete your body of oxygen. All right. So that means you have to be working at an extremely high rate. That means that it's typically for a short bout of time, because if we're able to maintain oxygen levels, then we're not really doing maximum power output for those movements. All right. So anaerobic cardio is all about maximum power, working as hard as you can possibly work for a short period of time, allowing your oxygen debt to then recover, and then repeating that for a cycle of maybe 3 to 7 bouts. Okay. Because again, the key here, what I want you guys to think about, and I want to illustrate it to this, I want you to think about the absolute hardest set of squats you could possibly do in the gym. All right. That is the type of energy I want you putting in terms of these anaerobic cardio bouts. And I'm gonna talk about some different ways that we can do this in just a second. But guys, the threshold, the level of which you are producing energy, you're producing force for these sessions needs to be basically as hard as you can possibly train. And that's why I'm encouraged that during this time we can still retain and possibly add lean body mass, especially through our lower half. Okay, so how can we do this? How do we set it up? Before any type of anaerobic cardio, I recommend that you start with a warm-up. Basically, we want to get our heart rate elevated to like a steady level where we don't really feel it being elevated, but we know that we're warm, especially through our lower half. And then let's talk about modes of which we can do anaerobic cardio. I want to start with things that we all have control over. I'm pretty sure all of us have access to a road. Some of us might have access to some stadium stairs. Some of us might have access to like a hill that we can climb. So again, when it comes to anaerobic cardio, we want to think about working as hard as we can, depleting oxygen debt for a short period of time, allowing that to recover over a period of, let's say, 45 seconds to 2 minutes, and then doing it again. All right. So when we do this, things like sprints are great. Hill sprints are great. Running upstairs are great at a maximum work effort. Other things that we can do if you guys have access to it, and there's been a ton of research about this. It's called a Wingate sprint. Now, a Wingate sprint is done on a specific bike, and the purpose of this is to, again, monitor and control and maximize power output over a short period of time, recover from that all out effort that you put into that set and then do it again. So if you guys have access to a spin bike, what I would recommend that you do is warm up on the spin bike for 5 minutes at a low resistance level. And then we're going to work through our cardio bouts of this anaerobic exercise. All right. So the next step in that is to really start to pedal hard, still with the resistance low, and get up to a peak speed, and then crank the resistance knob to a point where what I would recommend that you guys do is, let's say we're going to work as hard as we can for 15 to 20 seconds. Okay. I want you to crank the resistance knob up to a point that during that 15 to 20 seconds, by the end of that duration of time, you are really struggling to even pedal because you've literally used and you've exhausted all of the power that you have for that duration of time. That is a great way to really work on lower body conditioning. And honestly, guys, if you do this properly, it's gonna feel like the craziest pump in your legs that you've ever experienced. So again, thinking through different forms of this, we have the ability to sprint, okay? That's within all of our control. Sprint as hard as you can for 20 seconds, walk back. The time that you take to walk back, that's your recovery interval, and then sprint again. Walk back and sprint again. Within anaerobic activity, one of the things that I really want to point out to you guys that is really important is that you actually allow your body to recover between these all-out work intervals, all right? The point isn't to, and this is where a lot of us that have like that gotta do more mindset might falter on anaerobic activity. The point of these rest intervals is to truly rest. So what we want to do is we want to spike our heart rate as much as we can, and then we want to have it lower as much as possible during that rest interval. Okay, what we don't want to happen is we basically don't want to form two levels of work where we're doing basically all out work and then submax work, and we're never allowing the heart rate to return back down. Okay, because again, anaerobic activity, anaerobic exercise, anaerobic cardio is all about power output. If you continue throughout each set to lose the ability for all out power, it's not going to continue to be true HIIT type workouts, all right? High intensity interval workouts. It's going to turn into more moderate workouts, and that's defeating the whole purpose, especially from the benefit that this can truly have on muscle tissue. All right, so we are exhausting more than anything else. We're exhausting type 2X and fast twitch muscle fibers when we're doing anaerobic activity. All right. So again, guys, if you have questions about this, I would look up Wingate sprints. I would encourage you to do that. See how these things are done, and then try to modify those yourself the best that you can if you have access to any type of bike. I would recommend it on a spin bike. I've actually broken a few upright motorized bikes trying to do this because again, the power output's so high, I think it just kind of messes with the computerized system inside. But if you have a spin bike, look up Wingate sprints on YouTube. There's tons of videos. Ben Pakulski is a huge proponent of these, and then try to modify those for yourself to get that maximum power output. And I'm excited to get some feedback from you guys as to how this has helped your leg training, especially as you're able to go back into leg training. One of the things that I think we can all focus on improving right now is basically our ability to improve conditioning, to improve our ability to uptake oxygen, so that when we get back into the gym, we're able to do more than what we did when we entered. Maybe not necessarily strength right off the bat. It's going to take a few weeks for strength to get back, but once the strength is back, if you take this whole time to improve your conditioning, you're going to be able to do so much more with those strength levels once they're back, rather than, huffing and puffing or being out of shape in between sets. All right. Next form of cardio is just going to be your typical aerobic cardio. I would recommend that many of you guys, more so for just mental health and the ability to just allow our bodies to move on a daily basis, do some form of aerobic cardio, whether that's, again, just walking outside, finding a trail. I know that a lot of trails and national parks are being closed right now, but we can all find a form to walk outside, to do things like that. And I think that's very important right now, all right? Because our other modes of having the ability to walk around a mall or do cardio at a gym, they've been taken from us. So just replicate that at home in an environment and a means that you're able to do so, all right? One final thing I want to talk about for this video in terms of what we have in our control, there's another type of movement pattern that's called either a barbell or a dumbbell complex. This typically is a series of 4 to 5 movements, whether that be, a shoulder movement, a back movement, an upright row movement, an overhead movement, and then some type of full body movement. If you guys do a series of these, so for example, let's say for shoulders, you have 2 dumbbells And all these are kind of done in a power type movement. So like a front raise, but you're going to swing a front raise, and then you go from a swinging front raise to a hang clean catch. All right. And then after that, you do an upright row, and then you do an overhead press, and then you lean over, and then you do some type of rear fly. So do 5 reps on each movement, and then move to the next movement. So again, for example, 5 lifts to the front, 5 hang cleans, 5 upright rows, 5 overhead presses, 5 rear delt flies. And you're doing this in an explosive manner, under control and proper form, over and over. So repeat 5 reps of each, do 3 rounds of each. That's 1 set, okay? Give yourself a 2-minute rest, do that again. That's another great way to increase your cardio output during this time. Again, I don't have videos of barbell and dumbbell complexes because that wasn't something I was implementing in my training. But if I have access to film these for you guys, I will. That way you can see them. But in the meantime, again, look these up on YouTube. They're a great way to utilize lighter weights right now in a cardiovascular type muscle strength manner. To get something out of this time, all right? So that's kind of down the line. I know that everybody might not have a barbell or a dumbbell or a kettlebell that you have access to, but if you do have access to those things, I would either look up single arm complexes or dual arm complexes. That's another great form to really be implementing during this time. And it's a fun thing to do. It's a challenge, it's hard, but they're fun and they're over fast. You know, so you can kind of get locked in, okay, I got to work really hard here for 2 minutes, and then I get a 2-minute break, all right? So again, I hope these things help you guys. If you are not used to doing, this is one final point I want to make. If you are not used to doing any type of anaerobic cardio or anaerobic conditioning, it is extremely demanding, okay? Extremely demanding, especially if you're able to program your mindset to work as hard as possible during these sets. So if you guys watch this video today, all right, I don't recommend, if you've never done anything like this, to jump right into it today. What I would do is over the next week, I would work on improving your conditioning through aerobic conditioning. So get on a bike, pedal at a speed today. Tomorrow, increase that speed by another 2 to 3 miles per hour, all right? And then continue to work up until a week from now, you're able to work a lot harder at a consistent basis than you're working today. And then I would start some anaerobic conditioning, because if you guys jump right into this, it's going to put such a shock to your system that you're never going to want to do it again. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If this is not something that you're used to, work up to it and then implement it. All right. Again, I hope you guys are doing well. I'll be back with a video about what we can do in terms of our workouts, accessibility, what we have access to, and the realistic expectations of that. Based off of what we have. So I'm looking forward to sharing those thoughts with you, and I'll be back soon.